All right, here in round two, we're going to keep this hand. Oddly enough, we have all four colors, but we only have two lands. But this hand's still fine. I mean, if we draw any land, at least we can play Custodian or Closet Yearling, both of which would be good. Probably Custodian first since it enters tapped. All right, we did get the land, so that's good. Let's start it off with the green mana. All right, blue-black deck. Not sure yet how we'll pair against them, but the nice thing is we have a pretty good late game plan, so I may actually play the Yearling first. Can't decide yet. All right, Zephyr Scribe makes me want to play Yearling first. So let's go ahead and do that. Guess next turn I can play Formless Nurturing or Sabertooth Outrider. I think Outrider's probably better because then when I play Formless Nurturing, I'll have Formidable. Opponent is looting already, which is interesting. And missing a land drop. All right. Makes me want to kill Zephyr Scribe, but I'm not currently capable of doing that, so I think we'll just attack for 2. He does have 3 mana, though. Douse and Gloom is something I may have to worry about. Let's make him play Douse and Gloom, then. That's fine. All right, playing against Esper, which is interesting. All right, he did, in fact, have the Douse and Gloom, which means he's going to get... well, I was going to say get a double loot, but looks like that's not happening. And he didn't attack. That's pretty interesting. All right, well, just drew one of our bomb spells, so it's pretty good for us. So certainly some cards that deal with Dromoka fairly well. Reach of Shadows, for example, which I assume my opponent's likely digging for, but nice thing about Formless Nurturing is it's going to pair well with our Volcanic Vision as a mid to late game board wipe. In fact, the 2 7-drops we have in our hand are pretty impressive at the moment. All right, so he's just digging pretty hard for an answer to Dromoka. The really nice thing right now is that my Colossadon Yearling's going to be what's getting bolstered, so even if he does find the answer to Dromoka, he's going to have a big fat body in Colossadon Yearling to deal with. Pretty tempted to play Explosive Vegetation now, mostly as a way to get us into Volcanic Vision range, or Deathbringer Regent for that matter. Could also play the Formless Nurturing though, which appears pretty good on this board, but I think I am going to go Explosive Vegetation. I want to be able to play 7-drops next turn in a pinch. So let's get our second black mana. We already have 3 green. I guess we can get another one then. Or do I want to get another red? I don't need another white or anything else. Guess I can get one more red because I've got the Volcanic Vision. Maybe there's another red spell I want to play in a turn. So currently I can play Volcanic Vision, deal 4 damage to each of my opponent's creatures, which is certainly nothing to scoff at. Yeah, I would say, in fact, it's pretty incredible for us. We're going to completely board wipe our opponent and kill him. All right. So blue-black deck, looks like he's got some good value in there already. We see some good evasive creatures, some pretty good removal, good exploit targets, obviously some exploit. Ruthless Deathfang is a pretty excellent card. We've already seen 3 flyers, which is certainly enough to bring in Pinion Feast in my mind, so we'll do that. Could actually do the Return to the Earth, but I mean, guess technically we could do both, but not sure how I feel about that. Maybe I actually want to lose the Seismic Rupture. It takes care of Zephyr Scribe, and it takes care of Shambling Goblin. Actually, I might want to lose a Custodian of the Trove. I've got some options here. I've got some real options. Custodian, the reason I don't think it's that great in this matchup is because presumably our opponent's got a lot of evasive creatures, which really makes Custodian much worse. Certainly makes it good with Assault Formation, but not much beyond that. Tomb Shell, same sort of deal. I probably don't need all of these defensive creatures in this matchup. I'm a little more okay with Seismic Rupture, mostly because his exploit targets, I guess it doesn't take care of Palace Familiar, though. I could swap into a little bit more of an aggressive build, perhaps, and bring in Return to the Earth and Pinion Feast, and maybe bring in, like, take out Seismic Rupture, bring in, like, Mardu Scout, bring out Custodian of the Troves, but Mardu Scout's not going to be very good against... Maybe I do the Storm Singer instead. I guess Mardu Scout's a bit too color intensive. I could also do an Ambush Critique, but I don't have enough creatures at this point to really make that work. For some reason, Custodian just does not seem very good in this matchup. Could also do an Absinthe Sky Captain, but now I've got like 2 outs to his flyers. Like, the thing about Tomb Shell is at least it can attack, but I guess Custodian kind of does too. Not entirely sure. I think this is okay. I just feel like my ground guys are going to be less useful in this match. My ground defender guys especially. Mostly because this is actually a fine hand. At least it gives me outs to his flyers. And we've got 3 of our 4 colors. The only thing we currently can't cast is Sarkhan's Rage, which is, I guess, supposedly, or is probably a little bit better in the mid to late game anyway. That's actually a good draw. A little bit more difficult of a card to kill. Alright, Silmgar Monument is something that we can kill, so no problems there. Alright, this is actually interesting play on his part. 0-4 before I've even got a creature down, which is certainly interesting. So, I mean, I could morph this, but we already know he has Douse and Gloom, which makes the Bowmaster a slightly less attractive play as a morph. I'd still, honestly, I think I'd still rather cast it as a 4-drop, even though he's got the Faithful for it. Oh, he's probably setting up for a Vulturous Aven. Ooh, Gravecrawler. All right, well, Gravecrawler's a bit of a problem. I guess I do have Pyrotechnics, but I'm not going to be able to get all the value I want. Let's play a Bowmasters now, hardcast. Slightly more difficult to kill. Guess if he attacks with everything, I will kill a zombie, presuming he's got a Douse and Gloom. Or he could just play a Flatten and wipe my board and deal 7 to me. So, wouldn't mind red mana so I could take out his zombies at least. Storm Singer's not the best. So can I really fight? I don't know, not sure if I can afford to take another 7, but then again, I kind of want to get value off this Pinion Feast. I think I'm going to take 7 here. Not thrilled about it. Pretty unhappy about it. But, alright, I guess we just pass. My plan is he plays a land and hopefully attacks this with the monument so I can Pinion Feast it and then block, I guess, a zombie. Well, I guess I'm forced to chump block Gravecrawler. I think we likely lose this game, is what I'm trying to say. I could return to the Earth the monument anyway, but it doesn't really do much now. So I guess we just die unless I block the Gravecrawler, which is pretty unfortunate. Alright, I can play Angler, but I still die. I guess we just pass and die. So I'm trying to think what I want to do differently in game 3. I guess I bring back the Custodian, but it's just for a Gravecrawler, which isn't even that good. Let's see what his morph is. Just a Meringue River Skull. Alright, well, my sideboard plan didn't work, so I guess we'll bring back the Custodian. And, do I want to bring back anything else? I do have 14 creatures with Formless Nurturing and Dragon Fodder, so it's actually an adequate amount. I think we're probably just going to run it like this again. We'll play first. This hand's fine. We've got plays. If we get another land, we can Explosive Vegetation, which is pretty nice. Gravecrawler's a pretty bomby card, so not a big surprise that we lost to that. But the nice thing is we have two guys that can block it, so I guess that's actually pretty good. Opponent's in the tank on his 7-card hand, which is interesting. Explosive Vegetation's interesting right now too, since I presume I've got to find a white and a black mana. But it would be helpful information if I knew, for example, if I was going to draw like a Deathbringer Regent or a Dromoka first. But I guess first things first, let's just try and get a Closedon Yearling down. Our opponent did keep it 7, and I think that's a kind of good sign for us. If just the fact that he tanked that long kind of tells me he was desperate for a draw of some sort. He may have gotten the draw, but all right. Well, now we just find double black off the Explosive Vegetation. And then we'll have all of our 4 colors represented. All right, Volcanic Vision is once again very nice with our Explosive Vegetation, so I'm going to swing with the Yearling and then play a Custodian. Granted, this lets him crack back on us, but I feel like I've got some good options coming up here. And I feel as though I can be slightly ahead in the race soon, too. All right, Lotus Path Gen, so got some outs to that. I think we just Vegetation here. Find our 2 black mana. And at that point, we are prepared to cast everything in our deck, which is nice. Guess I should have attacked. Well, we're still fine. So we're land away from Volcanic Vision, which I guess we're going to be forced to play. Can also Pyrotechnics. I can also Grim Contest, which is certainly worthy of noting. Right, he tapped out. So it's still a pretty good opportunity to board wipe my opponent. Discarded 2 lands, which is interesting. All right, we got a Vulturous Haven, which seems okay here. So I guess we go Dragon Fodder, Vulture Save and pass. Actually, attack with Clausedon Yearling. We'll play the Vulture Save. Exploit a Goblin. Draw some cards, hopefully a land. Did get the land. So now we can Volcanic Vision, wipe my opponent's board, which is certainly going to be valuable. Alright, played the Flatten, which is also fine. So opponent's definitely at this point forcing me to Pyrotechnics. Hopefully he's left up negate mana, which is problematic, but I guess alternatively I can Pyrotechnics plus Grim Contest. That actually might be better. I don't have enough to do both right now, but if my opponent has negate, I kind of want my opponent to play negate on my Grim Contest instead. I think I'm just going to swing with Clausedon Yearling here. And I guess Goblin Token too. And then actually at that point we can go Grim Contest plus Formless Nurturing, which I think is actually pretty good. Okay, so play the Formless Nurturing. Got to make sure to not tap my black or green mana. I do have black here still. Swift Workite, well, that's a good one to flip. So we'll do Custodian and Lotus Path Gen. Guess I could do it on his Lurker instead. That's not the worst idea. I mean, this is a big flyer, but I have my Swift Workite. Let's do the Lurker instead. If he negates it, okay, did not negate it. So basically want him to play something big, so this Volcanic Vision is good. We're going to get Formless Nurturing back regardless. Definitely want him to play something here. Hand of Silmgar. All right. Seems like a pretty decent opportunity to play Pyrotechnics instead of Volcanic Vision. And that way the Volcanic Vision can come up later and actually bring back my Pyrotechnics. Problem is if he has a spell, well, let's force him to have a spell. Worst comes to worst, I'll play Volcanic Vision next turn, returning my my Pyrotechnics. All right. Now, granted, I could have actually flipped my Swift Workite to block the Lotus Path Gen, but now I'm in a position where I can Volcanic Vision to get back my Pyrotechnics, and then I think it's probably a good game after that. I mean, to be honest, I'm not even super tempted to play Volcanic Vision right now. It's not even that much value. I think he likely double blocks the Swift Workite, and then I can just flip my Workite, actually. That's pretty good. Let's do that. I think he double blocks. Alright, he didn't double block, which is pretty interesting. So that's going to get 4 toughness. All right. Well, he's only got 1 card left in hand, so I guess this is actually okay. So let's play the Wandering Tomb Shell now. And pass. No exploit. Alright, I guess we go for Volcanic Vision. It's not great. We only kill 1 thing, but we do get Pyrotechnics back, which theoretically should be enough to kill my opponent. So he gets his Regeneration Shield, which is fine. We get Pyrotechnics back, which is quite good. And should be able to get lethal theoretically next turn, but I guess we'll find out. Salt Formation would be quite the draw at the moment. That's a good draw too. Could have Douse and Gloom or something. Alright, let's go Pyrotechnics to the face since it is in fact lethal. He can Douse and Gloom in response, but the nice thing is we get to play Sabertooth Outrider, so he doesn't exactly get the best net result on this. I mean, he gets a pretty good net result because he's still alive, but... And I guess we don't have Formidable, but we still have Trample, which is certainly worthy of noting. Or we draw Sarkhan's Rage. So we get to respond to pretty much everything. And he's certainly dead with the Trample. Alright, well, we beat Black-Red Aggro and we beat Blue-Black Control. So our deck is working really well, actually. Surprisingly, because it does just look like a big, mix of colors. But it's playing really well for us. So Volcanic Vision's a beast. I think this card is still pretty underrated because it's a 7-drop that requires you to have something. But I just played Pyrotechnics twice this game, which is pretty incredible. And I don't know. I actually, the one that I mentioned in the beginning, it plays it remarkably well with Explosive Vegetation. That is some really nice synergy. So, all right, we'll see you in the finals.